बिटकॉइन क्या है?
Bitcoin scam from 2020 is back to haunt the Karnataka government.
Come on, stop this.
ಬಿಟ್ಕಾಯಿನ್ ಇಡೀ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಸಾವಿರಾರು ಕೋಟಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ವಾಟ್ ಯು ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಸೇ?
Ayo, there's nothing to say about this. It's just nuisance and bogus. Well, it seems to be the media.
ಬಿಟ್ಕಾಯಿನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಚರ್ಚೆ ಆಯ್ತು. ಬಿಟ್ಕಾಯಿನ್ ಏನು ಬಂದೇ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರ ಅಥವಾ
ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಚರ್ಚೆ ನಾನೇ ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಏನಾದರೂ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ತಲೆ ಕೆಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗಿ ನೀವು ನಿಷ್ಠೆಯಿಂದ ದಿಟ್ಟತನದಿಂದ ಜನರ ಬರೋ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್.
ಬಿಟ್ಕಾಯಿನ್ಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟ ಹಾಗೆ ನನ್ನೆಯೂ ಸಹ ನಾನು ಕೆಲವು ವಿಷಯ ಪ್ರಸ್ತಾಪ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ.
Bitcoin is another currency. Then the question comes, what is a currency, right? Currency is a medium of exchange which is accepted by a lot of people. How to make a currency acceptable by a lot of people, right? It's either mandated by any government, central bank, or a lot of people who have stakes in the system. An ecosystem lends legitimacy to the currency. Bitcoin is based on what is called a proof of work concept. Basically, when we say Bitcoin, it's basically one kind of cryptocurrency, right? When we say crypto, what does it mean? Let's say I pay you X amount of money in what are denominated in dollars, pounds, rupees, or whatever. Somebody has to validate it, right? So in case of dollars, pounds, rupees, it's done by central banks and the entire banking system. In this case, it's done by, the validation is done by a set of users of the same currency. So they basically encrypt, decrypt. So that's how Bitcoin works. When we say safe or not safe, right? So it basically implies an amount of risk. So the question is it risky? Right? It's definitely risky in many terms, right? So number one, your wallet, digital wallet, the stuff that you use to store your digital currencies, it can be hacked. It has happened to my friends, right? So that's a source of risk, right? Second risk, can the value fluctuate? The value can fluctuate a lot, right? So it is volatile. Whether you perceive volatility as a personal risk or not, that depends on your time horizon, right? Third thing, there can be regulatory challenges. Like in India, we've had in the past, legal gray areas about Bitcoin, right? I mean, right now I think it's legal, at least not illegal. But in the past, there was a time when RBI stopped banks from processing Bitcoin transactions, right? Recently, something happened in China where there was a regulatory crackdown on cryptocurrencies. That's another source of risks. So these are the risks, but any investment activity entails some risk. Yeah, like I said, it's not illegal at the moment. So the assumption is it's legal, but can that change? That it's possible. Mining is, I would say it's an activity that's expensive in terms of electricity and hardware. You need specialized hardware to mine Bitcoins. And this hardware frequently goes obsolete. In fact, a friend of mine approached me saying, I have some hardware, can you make use of it and, we can share the revenue. It turned out that it was completely obsolete, right? And he had spent about $100,000 or maybe more at that time on this hardware, right? So that's possible. But you can join mining clubs, there are many ways to benefit from it. You can just invest also. You can invest and stake so that you make some return out of your investment while it goes up and down if you're a long-term guy. So all these are possible, and you can trade also. I mean, I have a lot of friends, partially me, right? What is the correct value of Bitcoin? I don't know, right? But does it stop me from trading it? If I have some idea about the direction of the movement, no, it doesn't. I can still make money off of trading Bitcoin. Drawbacks, as an investor, as a finance guy, who has done a lot of traditional finance, traditional trading, traditional investment, I would prefer to have assets that are uncorrelated to each other while investing. But in this cryptocurrency, everything seems to be correlated to Bitcoin, right? So that's, there are Shiba Inus, there are things that have a big spike once in a while. But as an asset class, there is what we call a high amount of systematic risk in this. Against Indian currency, it's about around 50 lakhs, plus or minus a couple of lakhs, right? That's small change for Bitcoin. Why is it so expensive? You don't have to look at it as one Bitcoin versus 1 rupee, right? Because Bitcoin is infinitely divisible. So a lot of exchanges these days are saying, you can invest $100 and invest something in Bitcoin. That could be 0.00001%, right? Why is it so expensive? The simplest reason is these days fiat money, which is traditional currencies like USD, GBP, EUR, INR, are cheap. That's because a lot of central banks have, done what is called quantitative easing, which is in simple language is printing money, right? So there is a lot of traditional money chasing equities, chasing commodities, chasing cryptocurrencies or any asset class. But I don't think the cryptocurrency by itself is a problem. It's about how people use it, right? Like any other technology, right? People can do nasty things out of cell phones. People can do nasty things out of computers. In fact, it turned out that, the guy who was involved in the Bangalore Bitcoin controversy used to encrypt websites. This has nothing to do with Bitcoin per se, right? But because of crypto technology, he found a way to encrypt websites and demand a ransom. So it's about people, it's about legal systems, it's about, the incentive to be ethical or not ethical. It depends on the exchange. So I would suggest if you have Bitcoin investments, you diversify across multiple exchanges and all good ones, all big ones. Otherwise, it's possible that your money can just disappear. I am unfortunately not a big expert on security, IT security of any kind. But there are loopholes that people can always expect. There are loopholes that can always be exploited. Well, I would say like any asset, right? I would personally say buy when there's nobody else buying, right? Buy when the price is low. Imagine Bitcoin was at $4,000 about a year and a half ago, right? And then it hit $10,000 because they do what is called halving, where they cut down the reward for miners. So they have to mine more to get the same, right? And then, this whole quantitative easing, central bank stimulus started. So buy when it's cheap, right? At least relative to its own history. That there is no measure of absolute value here. Unlike companies, where you can do discounted cash flows and stuff, there is no cash flow here as such.